Bringing your guide dog home when you have pets at home can be sometimes a little bit nerve-wracking, and in this video I want to talk about things you can do to ease the transition between guide dog school and your home environment when you have a pet at home. My name is John. This is Blind Man Walking, and I have had 3 guide dogs, so I think I'm in a pretty good position when it comes to experience, when it comes to introducing my guide dogs to pets that I've had at home. So this is one of my pets. This is Louis. Louis is my girlfriend's massive hybrid. He is a St. Bernard Great Pyrenees Mastiff. And he's very sweet, very good-natured. He is nearly 6. Over here, we have the old man. This Great Dane, this gray fella, his name is Rufus. He is nearly 11. And for those of you who are not familiar with the Great Dane breed, they don't usually live this long. He is in great shape for his advanced age. Just relaxing on his bed, having a little snooze. And then on my bed, in here, we have the one and only Neeson! Neeson! This is Neeson. He is nearly 5. He's my 3rd guide dog, and he comes from Guide Dogs for the Blind in California. Hello. So I'm just going to talk about my experience bringing home guide dogs when I've had pets at home. So with my first dog, Luther, I was going away to college when I got him. So he did not have any pet dogs to deal with. When I retired him, I kept him as a pet and went to get number 2, Lars. So when I brought Lars home, Luther was staying with friends while I went to get Lars. So the first night I was home with Lars was just him and I and my girlfriend at the time. The evening after, I picked up Luther and brought him home. Now, Luther was a very, very laid-back, very gentle lab. Lars was a very high-energy young lab. So I just basically opened up my door and let Luther in my house, and they did the whole doggy handshake, and they were best buddies right away. My girlfriend did have cats at the time, so whenever I would go over to her place, obviously her cats were there. So the first the first night I brought Lars over to her house, he literally saw the cats and jumped up on the back of her sofa to get away from them. So they definitely scared him a bit, but over time he got more and more comfortable with them being around. It didn't take that long for him to feel like totally comfortable with them, but there was no incidents at all with him and them, and eventually they got along really well together. When I moved to BC, I had Lars with me, and when I was looking for places, one place that I was looking at is the place that I actually rented. The gentleman there had a pet dog, a pit bull Labrador rescue. Pretty good around other dogs. She definitely had some territorial guarding in her. So when we met, we introduced the dogs in the backyard, and she did a little bit of barking, a little bit of running around, but they did the whole doggy handshake, I'll check you out, you check me out, and they were fine. So there was never any issues with Lars and Misha. That was her name. That is her name. She's still alive. So when I retired Lars, I wasn't able to keep him because my landlord didn't want too many big dogs in the property, and I was going to get another dog, so I had to give him up. But luckily friends of mine took him, so I still got to see him often. So I got Neeson. Yes, I did. So when I brought Neeson home, my roommate had actually gone away up north to work for a month in northern BC, and he took his dog with him. So Neeson and I had the place to ourselves for about a month, so we had plenty of time to just kind of ease Neeson into the neighborhood, his new home. And when my roommate and Misha returned, We did the same thing. We just introduced them in the backyard, lots of space. They did the whole running around, doggy handshake, and they got along pretty much right away. They got along really well together. I think sometimes we can encourage possible issues because dogs can really they can really tell what we're feeling, what we're thinking, and how we act around them can really affect how they act around each other and us. So I think by staying calm, not stressing out, thinking positive thoughts, we can eliminate a lot of our dog's anxious behavior. Now, when I moved back to Ontario, so I moved back to Ontario this past September, and I'm currently living with my girlfriend who has these two creatures. So one of her concerns was how Louis would react to Neeson. Louis can be a little bit growly, a little bit protective. So we introduced the dogs at my place outside, and they were fine. They were fine right from the beginning. So that was a relief. However, when Louis moved in here, there was definitely a change in Neeson's behavior initially. He was used to being the only dog, my dog. And so just having that extra dog around it just meant extra attention that he wasn't getting. So his nose was definitely out of place, out of joint. So he was extra clingy with me. He would try to climb in bed with me. He would follow me wherever I went. So I have really tried to maintain in his mind that he's the top dog because he's my guide dog. He is responsible for my safety, my well-being. So he, in my eye, he is the top dog. Everything I do with these guys, everything I do, whether it be walking, feeding, going to the bathroom, it is all dictated by Neeson being the top dog. So that lasted for about a week or so with him being a little bit out of sorts. Now he's totally fine. They play together inside, they play together outside, they sleep together on Louis' bed. They're best buddies. Now when Rufus joined us, he did not initially join us because where Colleen was living prior to moving in here, her landlord only wanted one big dog. So Rufus was staying with her aunt, but now that Colleen's here, Rufus can come here. So same thing, when Rufus came here, Neeson's nose was definitely a little bit out of joint. Again, just adding another dog to the mix just meant attention he wasn't getting. So as much as I love these guys, as much as I love Louis, as much as I love Rufus, it's been very important for me to maintain Neeson's level of attention, Neeson's level of care, Neeson's everything. Neeson is the top dog in this house. He has to be. And yeah, so his nose again was a little bit out of joint for a couple of days. He wouldn't play with Louis at all. He was pretty, like, he would just follow me around everywhere I went, and no bad behaviors developed, no nothing. Just he was a little bit, just his nose was a little bit put out. But he's fine now. He's back to his normal, happy, childish self, sleepy self. Some tips for people that might be thinking about getting a guide dog. They already have a pet at home. Things to keep in mind. Some breeds just do better as the sole pet. So a lot of what would be known as bully breeds, or dogs that have territorial tendencies, guarding tendencies, are better off just being the sole dog of the household. Don't paw my camera, bud. Any sporting dog, any dog that can pass the canine citizenship test is a dog that will do well with a guide dog at home. Just make sure to give your pet dog lots of attention. Don't let them feel like they're left out. It can be tough with multiple dogs because your focus has to be your guide dog, especially when you get them home for the first time. You really don't have a really good bond with your guide dog yet. It takes time to develop that, and you need to spend that time with your dog, as much time as you can. Training, you know, nailing down your little routine that they will grow accustomed to, helping them settle in to adjust to their new environment. But all of that said, having multiple dogs is a great, it's totally great. I love it. I would never have a single dog household, just because they exercise each other. They're buddies. They keep each other company when, like, if I have to leave Neeson at home, he's got two buddies to hang out with. So I personally recommend having multiple dogs if you can swing it. If not, well, that's okay. It depends on your living situation. So if you have pets and a guide dog and have any additional suggestions, comments to add, I would appreciate a comment in the comments of this video, because there are hopefully going to be people that watch this who are in the position of going to maybe get a guide dog or thinking about it but not sure because they have a dog at home already. So yeah, leave a comment below, and we'll see you next time. Won't we, Neeson? Yes, we will.